Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. Today, we are going to stop talking about how, you know, cool artificial intelligence is and start talking about where the rubber actually meets the road. Because let's be honest, I think we can all agree that the honeymoon phase with AI is pretty much over.
Oh, for sure.
The part where we just poked around chatbots and laughed when they made stuff up.
It certainly feels that way. The novelty is worn off. Now you have, the C-suite walking into the room and asking, okay, this is impressive, but how does it actually make us money?
Or at least, how does it stop my team from drowning in busy work?
Exactly.
Exactly. We are entering the messy phase, the phase of integrating these tools into the complex, often chaotic reality of actual business workflows. And to help us navigate this, we're doing a deep dive today into a really comprehensive review of a platform called Cassidy AI.
Right. And this review was written by Felix Rumer, the founder of SmartKeys.org.
And let me tell you, it is not just a feature list.
No, it's really a blueprint for modern operations. Rumer frames Cassidy AI not just as another chatbot, because, frankly, we have enough of those, but as a solution to a very specific problem that I think every professional listening to this is feeling right now.
Which is it?
The generic trap and the context-switching nightmare. I mean, we're drowning in tabs, moving data from one place to another manually.
And then you get these AI outputs that are so robotic you spend more time editing them than you would have spent just writing the thing yourself.
That's the one.
Right. The promise here is context-aware outputs. It's about speeding up research and summaries without losing your soul or, more importantly for a business, without losing your brand voice.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack exactly how Cassidy attempts to solve that problem using things like personalized assistants and workflow builders.
And what I find most compelling about this analysis is that it signals a massive shift in the future of work. We're moving away from treating AI as a destination, a website you go to, and towards AI as a layer of infrastructure that lives inside the work you're already doing.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
So let's get right into the first big concept Felix highlights in his review, the end of generic AI. He points out a frustration that I think is universal. You go to a standard LLM, you ask it to write something, and what comes back?
What comes back is, well, it sounds like a robot trying to sound like a corporate executive.
The delve problem.
Exactly. It uses words nobody actually uses in conversation. I mean, it's grammatically correct, sure, but it's completely hollow.
It lacks nuance. It lacks the specific tone that makes a brand recognizable.
It's the uncanny valley of corporate communication. And for a business, that is dangerous. If you sound like everyone else, you are nobody.
So how does Cassidy solve this? Because just telling the bot, be professional, usually just makes it more boring.
The review points to a feature called personalized assistants. Now, this isn't just about giving the bot a cute name like Marketing Mike. The review explains that users can train these assistants on their own business data. We are talking about uploading your documents, your guidelines, your past emails.
Okay, so technically, are we looking at a RAG approach? Retrieval Augmented Generation.
In essence, yes, but simplified for the business user. You aren't just prompting a model with a few sentences. You're listing it your employee handbook, your style guides.
Your best performing white papers.
Exactly. The review mentions specific settings where you can lock style rules, define preferred vocabulary, and set response formats.
Locking style rules. I love that phrasing. It sounds like you're putting guardrails on the AI so it doesn't go rogue.
That's exactly what it is. And if you think about the business implications, it's huge. It ensures compliance. If you're in a regulated industry or even just a company that is protective of its brand, you can't have an AI hallucinating facts or using slang. This feature ensures that whether the output is a chat message, an email, or a Slack update, it sounds like us. It's the difference between a tool that drafts text and a tool that drafts your company's content.
The source material has this great imagery of multiple digital helpers.
Yeah.
It's not just one omnibot.
Right. You might have one assistant for sales, another for support, another for content.
Which mirrors how a real company works.
Right. Totally. You wouldn't ask your CFO to write your creative marketing copy. Or at least, I hope you wouldn't.
I hope not.
By compartmentalizing these assistants, you ensure they are experts in their specific domain. Your sales assistant has access to pricing decks. Your HR assistant has the policy manuals.
Okay, let's unpack the tech underneath these assistants. Felix uses a term in the review that I think is going to be a requirement for the next few years. Model agnostic.
Yes, this is a strategic power move for any business.
So, for someone who might just be getting used to the idea of GPT-4, what does model agnostic actually mean here?
Simply put, it means Cassidy doesn't force you to use just one AI brain. You aren't locked into just OpenAI's GPT-4 or Anthropic's Claude or Google's Gemini.
Cassidy sits on top of all of them.
Exactly.
And why does that matter? Isn't the best model just the best model?
Not anymore. And this is the critical insight from the review. The AI landscape is incredibly volatile. I mean, today, GPT-4 might be the king.
Right.
But tomorrow, Claude might release an update that makes it way better at creative writing. Next week, a smaller model might come out that's half the price and twice as fast for simple tasks.
So if you build your entire workflow hard-coded to one vendor,
You're exposed. You're exposed to their pricing changes, their downtime, their stagnation. If you're 100% reliant on OpenAI and they change their API pricing, your costs just went up.
it's like diversification for your tech stack.
Precisely. The review notes that this lets businesses balance accuracy, cost, and resilience. Think about it like a toolbox. You don't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame. If you have a simple task, like summarizing a short email, you don't need the most expensive, smartest model. You can use a cheaper, faster one.
That is a really smart way to look at it. It takes the anxiety out of choosing the winner in the AI wars.
Because you don't have to choose. You can use them all. It protects your tech stack. You aren't building a liability. You're building a flexible system.
Okay, so we've established who is talking, the assistants, and how they think, the agnostic models. But the review spends the most time on what actually gets done. This brings us to the engine room.
The workflow builder.
This seems to be where the real magic happens. It shifts from just chatting with a bot to actually automating complex business processes.
Right, and Felix gives a very detailed example in the review, an automated content SOP. I think we need to walk through this because it perfectly illustrates the difference between chatting with AI and working with AI.
Let's do it, because I think a lot of people hear workflow automation and their eyes glaze over. But this is tangible. So step one isn't even inside Cassidy. It starts with an audit.
Correct. You identify underperforming pages via Google Search Console. Standard stuff.
Right.
But usually, that's where the manual drudgery begins. A human would have to open those pages, read them, open 100 tabs to look at competitors.
It's the part of the job everyone hates. But here, the workflow takes over. Step two, you send those URLs to the platform. And Cassidy doesn't just read your page.
No, the review says it scrapes the top 100 search engine results.
Pause on that. Top 100.
I mean, imagine a human trying to read and synthesize the top 100 search results for a keyword. It would take days.
They burn out.
You would. The workflow does it in minutes. And it doesn't just read them. The review says it flags gaps.
Flags gaps. So
Yeah.
it's looking for what the competitors are saying that we aren't.
Exactly. It's performing a semantic gap analysis automatically. It sees that 80% of top results mention pricing transparency, but your article doesn't. That is a strategic insight.
Which leads to step three, building the strategy brief. The system maps out keywords, micro-intents.
And notice, we still haven't written a single word of the final content yet. This is all strategy.
It's the thinking work that usually gets skipped.
Right, because everyone's in a rush.
And finally, step four, the system generates the draft. But because it has all that context, the gaps, the keywords, the brand voice rules, it's not a generic draft.
No, the review says it includes SEO best practices, meta descriptions, call to actions, even FAQs.
And here's the aha moment for me in Felix's analysis. All of this happens in the background.
You trigger the workflow, you go grab a coffee.
And when you come back, the rough draft is actually a highly strategic, data-backed document. This frees the human to do what the review calls SME checks, subject matter expert checks.
That's a crucial distinction. The human moves from being the drafter to the decision maker.
You are reviewing the strategy, verifying the accuracy, and adding that final 10% of creative flair. You become an editor-in-chief, not a junior copywriter, which is a massive upgrade in value. But looking at the review, this isn't just for marketing, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. The mechanics are identical. In sales, instead of scraping Google, you're using the workflow to research leads.
So before a salesperson even picks up the phone, the assistant has researched the prospect.
Yes, it can go to their LinkedIn, their company news page. It scores them based on fit, and then it can draft the initial outreach email.
And because of that brand voice alignment, that outreach doesn't sound like spam.
Exactly. It focuses the sales team on pipeline growth and relationship building The human stuff.
And for customer support, I feel like support chatbots have a really bad reputation.
They do, because historically they were just dumb decision trees. Press 1 for billing.
Yeah.
But this is different. The system can categorize incoming tickets automatically. Is this a billing issue, a technical bug? And then it drafts a reply using the correct documentation.
So it cuts down response time.
Significantly. But again, a human can review it before hitting send.
Now, there's another feature Felix highlights that addresses that tab switching nightmare, the Chrome extension.
This is a nod to how people actually work. We live in the browser. If I have to open a separate AI app every time, I'm breaking my flow.
The review calls it a browser-first design. It brings the assistant to the work.
It's removing friction. If you're on a prospect's LinkedIn profile, the extension pops up and can read that profile right there. No copy-pasting back and forth.
However, the pragmatist in Felix's review points out a potential snag here.
There is always a but. The review rightfully points out a limitation. A browser-first design relies on the browser, specifically Chrome.
Right, the shadow IT problem.
Exactly. Many large organizations, banking, healthcare, they lock down browser extensions due to security concerns. So if your IT department says no, you lose that specific layer of efficiency.
That is a really good point. It's not always up to the user.
Oh.
Which actually segues perfectly into the next topic. The boring but critical stuff, integration and security.
It's only boring until you get hacked.
True. But for any business tool, this is make or break. You can have the smartest AI in the world, but if it leaks your data, you're finished.
Yeah.
The review mentions integrations with Slack and API access. Why is that so important?
Because you don't want to create a new silo. If your AI assistant lives on an island and doesn't talk to your team in Slack, it's just another thing to manage. The goal is to stitch the assistants into existing pipelines.
So if I'm in Slack, I should be able to ask the assistant a question right there.
Exactly. It becomes a team member.
And on the security front, the big question, is it safe? We're talking about uploading some very sensitive documents.
Felix is very clear on this. The platform uses encryption at rest and in transit has audit logs. But the most important feature he highlights is role-based access controls.
Break that down for us.
It means not everyone sees everything. Your HR assistant needs salary data to answer payroll questions.
Right.
But you definitely don't want the marketing intern's assistant to have that same access.
That would be a disaster.
A massive disaster. Limiting who sees what data is fundamental for enterprise adoption.
The review also touches on pricing, mentioning a 14-day pro free trial.
And the advice Felix gives here is great, he says. Don't just use the trial to see if it's cool. Use the trial to validate fit.
And to stress test it.
Right. He advises to verify security during training before full rollout. Don't just check if it writes good emails. Check if it keeps your secrets. Try to break it.
That is solid advice. Don't let the shiny features distract you from data governance.
Always.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Personalized assistance, the model-agnostic approach, the workflow builder.
It's a comprehensive package.
As we start to wrap this up, what's the strategic summary here? What's the bottom line?
The value proposition is really about speed without compromise. Usually in business, you have a triangle. Speed, quality, cost. Pick two.
Right.
If you speed up routine work, quality usually drops. Cassidy AI is arguing that by using these context-aware assistants, you can speed up the process while actually improving quality because of that brand alignment.
It's automation that doesn't feel like automation to the end customer.
Exactly. And the why goes deeper. In today's economy, the winners aren't just the companies that use AI. Everyone uses AI now.
Yeah.
The winners are those who successfully automate multi-step processes. It's the difference between using a hammer and building an assembly line.
That distinction, hammer versus assembly line, that really sticks with me. A chatbot is a hammer. A workflow is an assembly line.
Exactly. An assembly line scales. A hammer doesn't.
The source mentions turning search data into strategy.
It feels like we are graduating from AI as a toy to AI as infrastructure you build upon.
That is the perfect way to put it. Infrastructure becomes the plumbing of the organization.
And this brings us to our forward-looking thought for the day. And I want to leave the listener with something a bit provocative here. If tools like Cassidy are handling the deep research, the drafting, the lead scoring, I have to ask, what is left for us? It raises a very uncomfortable but necessary question about the definition of work. If the execution, the doing part of the job is largely automated, then work shrinks to just two things.
Which are?
High-level strategy and relationship management.
So we stop being doers and start being directors.
That is the shift. And are we ready for that? Are we ready to stop valuing ourselves based on how many emails we sent? The skill set required to manage a fleet of AI assistants is very different from the skill set required to write a blog post manually.
It sounds like we need to upgrade our own internal operating systems, not just our software.
Indeed. The tools are here. The question is, are we ready to wield them?
A brave new world. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast.
It's been a pleasure unpacking this with you.
If you found this discussion valuable, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast. We are constantly exploring the future of work and the sauce tools that are shaping it.
And if you want to see the nitty-gritty details, the screenshots of the workflows we described, I highly encourage you to read Felix Romer's full review of Cassidy AI.
We have put the link right there in the show notes for you. Go check it out. Until next time, keep learning, keep optimizing, and don't let the robots have all the fun.
Goodbye, everyone.